Hey guys, I'm gonna apologize in advance if the internet is not all that great. I've been fighting internet issues here. Biggest city in the world, Tokyo, Japan, the least most populated city, one of the biggest airports in the world. Terrible Wi-Fi, terrible Wi-Fi. So we'll see how this turns out, but it seems to be a little bit better here. They don't even have Wi-Fi in the cafes. But just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the decentralized trends that we're kind of seeing. Basically, some of the apps I've been kind of getting into lately and talking about. Some of the ones that are kind of trending on DeFi Radar. Got my handy iPad here, so I'm trying to keep up on some things. I'm not traveling with my laptop. I'm gonna buy a new one when I get to get to where I'm going. Let's see here. But just taking a look. This is let me turn this around here a little bit. What's going on, guys? Alrighty. So let's see how this turns out. It's looking not too bad. Let me do it like this. Let's try this out. This is kind of new for me, so bear with me a sec here. This is DeFi Radar, and these are some of the ones, like, we were seeing, basically IDEX has taken over the top spot with, the users isn't as high as we were once seeing. We were seeing like 3,000 and 4,000 users in some of these decentralized exchanges. They've been down a little bit. Like, one of the things you were seeing with IDEX was that it was heavily botted. And it doesn't necessarily seem to be the case anymore, because we were seeing the daily active users in 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pretty consistently for a while. So it's interesting to kind of see the trends with some of those exchanges, but really, basically everything underneath it. You're looking at proof of weak hands, you're looking at FOMO 3D, you're looking at Zethr. I don't know much about this Ethermon games. I don't get a whole lot into the games. Banker, the exchange that got hacked, it's coming back a little bit. And then you start kind of getting into some of the clones. You've got the FOMO game, FOMO 4D, World FOMO. The dice game's been on there for quite a while. But, that's a little bit of kind of what we're seeing. I kind of wanted to go over, like, FOMO 3D, like, it's still kind of really just barely kind of scraping by. Like, the timer really hasn't gone up or gone down. It's kind of been staying, roughly kind of in the middle, like somewhere between 7 hours to like 13, 14 hours, at least the times that I've been checking. So there just really hasn't been a whole lot of dividends. And you can kind of see with basically the crypto market tanking. Like, the pot, this was well over 10 million, and it hasn't gone down in terms of the ETH value, but now it's less than 9 million. So proof of weak hands. So I sold all my proof of weak hands yesterday, and so you're kind of seeing this downward trend. Not a whole lot of green in this picture, not a whole lot of people buying in. So I'm expecting that trend to continue at least to 40,000. And so that's why I was basically, saying that I'm thinking it's going to be a better play right now to stick with some of the platforms that I think have a little bit more potential to boom. So like I got in, I was talking a little bit more about arbitraging. I put in a bunch of orders to buy. There's a huge spread. I haven't had a chance really to check out the charts. Maybe some of you guys can tell me how it's performing. But let's take a look at kind of where we're at on DeFi Radar. There we go. $4. So, like, I know when this thing had been spiking, like, you can see the ETH value right there, right at about 0.01. But this was going up to like 0.01314, all the way down to 0.009. So there was a huge spread in the price, with this project, but volume's really kind of coming in. And so, like, that's why, like, I think that this is poised for a breakout. And I think once some more of the developments that have kind of been talked about on YouTube and a few different people reporting about it, once those kind of go into effect, I think it's going to be I think it's going to do real well. Like, I think you'll start to see a lot more people starting to get into that project. Like the FOMO game, Like, I'm not really seeing a whole lot of incentive to get into FOMO, either the long game or the short game or any of the clones. Really, like, I don't see. I think the kind of the novelty, the innovation of that has worn off a little bit. I'm hoping, you know, that, you know, maybe we see another pump. You know, like, really, you saw the English market, you saw like the Chinese market. The Chinese market is what really kind of made the price explode. And I'm looking into some other ones. Like, I don't want to mention this platform that I got into the other day because I'm still kind of checking it out, but I threw some ETH into it, and I haven't even checked to see how that's performing. And I won't know until I get my laptop set up. But the reason I got into it was because of the Chinese market. So I think that's one of the things that you're starting to see is you're starting to see some of these decentralized apps really start to take off once they kind of get into the Chinese market. And so one of the things I've been kind of talking about, you know, is that, you know, Asians in general look at some of these projects a lot differently than English-speaking, you know, hypercritical, you know, so-called, you know, techies in kind of the English-speaking world. So like it's a little bit like if it's broken down and kind of explained in a way that makes sense, it's kind of simple, like those types of talking points and whatnot, those really tend to do well. And I think that's why, like, you saw some of these platforms really just explode at certain times was when, you know, we saw some huge Chinese investors. I've been kind of looking in the news and everything. There's been a lot of news about like China really kind of taking over certain things. Like, there's been all this drama and everything with like Russia, like with the US and all this. Like, that's all, like, first of all, it's all BS. But second of all, it's kind of a diversion from, you know, the real threat. The real threat in the world to the US supremacy right now is China. And like, it's going to be that way for a little while. Like, China is massive. Absolutely massive, and they have been expanding and doing all kinds of different, you know, projects, governmental, you know, funded projects, military type, you know, funded projects. Like, there's a lot going on in China, and I think that once you kind of start to see some of these things really take off in the crypto world, in those markets, like they explode a lot more than they would in English-speaking demographics, I guess you could say. So, you know, like, I tried getting a visa to China. I got really pissed because, like, I stood in line for 4 hours at the Chinese embassy in Vietnam and didn't get in. I was literally, like, they cut the line right in front of me. So I waited in line for 4 hours to get a visa to go to China, and they basically cut the line right at me. The only way to get a visa if you're in Vietnam to go to China is to bribe the officials. It's so corrupt in Vietnam. And I kind of wanted to do a video about it. I was so upset, and I was talking to some of my Vietnamese friends, and I was basically telling them, I was like, you know, like, this is so messed up. Like, it's so messed up that the only way that you can get a visa to go to China is to pay some scumbag, you know, governmental official that's basically like coordinating things at the door. So, like, I wanted to go there and do some video and really document it and kind of expose some of the corruption that's going on right there. And some of my Vietnamese friends were like, don't do it. Like, don't do it. Like, you don't know what the Vietnamese government is capable of. You know, like, they were telling me horror stories of like gangs of people like coming and like basically like beating up people, you know, that tried to challenge the government. Like, I was like hearing some of these stories, and it's just blowing my mind. So some of those same trends like hold true in China too, because they kind of have some of the same communist roots and the government is kind of a totalitarian entity. And so I think that's why you're seeing a lot of interest in cryptocurrency, because it's kind of breaking that model. And you know, I think that it's a way for people to kind of escape a little bit from some of the kind of the government, you know, clampdowns and controls that are trying to be put into place. So so yeah, I mean, that's kind of my rant, I guess, about that. But yeah, bribery is a real thing. Yeah, it's yeah, I gotta leave here in a couple of minutes. I guess my flight's taking off a little bit early. But yeah, like that's just kind of like some of my thoughts. Like, I am very interested in kind of getting into the Chinese market so that I can better understand it. I've never been to China. I want to go to Hong Kong, and so I'm going to try to do that by the end of the year. I got a strong interest to go and spend some time in Shanghai, and I don't have a whole lot of connections there, but the idea that I had was just to really kind of get on the ground and do whatever I can to kind of network with crypto people and kind of get some of the info. I know a couple of people in China that can kind of point me in the right direction, so I'm planning on doing that here at some point. As far as like, I mean, the market, the cryptocurrency market as a whole is really down, like 260 billion in terms of the market cap. Bring that up right here. It's not a whole lot of people are real. Like you saw the bullish trend where it kind of came up over 300, and it just keeps keeps kind of getting suppressed and kind of come down and having a little bit of this volatility. And some of the only stuff that's really performing well right now have been some of these decentralized apps. But like just taking a quick peek at 260 in the market cap, pretty much everything's down. You can take a look at some of the trenders here. I kind of was interested to see Dropple there. Some of these other ones I really don't know a whole lot about. Like Metaverse is new, ODEM. These are two coins that are new to the top 100. So we'll see how those do. Maybe sometimes you'll see these coins that kind of crack into the top 100 for a little while and then just disappear. So if there's some sustained interest there, and if they have some a little bit more like adoption in some of the exchanges, like those tend to be maybe good projects to get into. But the decentralized space kind of seems like that's kind of where it's at right now if you're looking to kind of make money in crypto. So I'm looking at some different projects. Like I think some of the big ones, the major ones that I'm in are very promising. There's a few new ones. I think there's a lot of innovation that's going on in the space right now, in that space. And I think they can be innovative because it is kind of decentralized. It's essentially just code. And so like you're not trusting in a human. And I think that has a lot of appeal, especially kind of in a world markets. Like, Bitcoin's still technically illegal in Vietnam. And they're still trying to figure out, which agency is going to regulate it in the U.S. And just a lot of, uncertainty, and that may be something that might be a little bit scary if you're getting into like a centralized type platform. And so some of these platforms that are kind of taking the human element out of it, those are the ones I think that have the most potential. So yeah, Ether going back up. I saw Ether had another 1,000 or so. Like last time I checked, it was like 6,000. At least that was what it was showing in DeFi Radar. Now it's showing 55.19. I don't know if I'm looking at the right. Thought I saw like 1,000 ETH go back in that contract. But let's let this refresh. Oh, the internet's so slow here. Yeah, I'm not getting it to refresh. So. You need to stamp American National on your passport. I don't know much about American National. I'll have to look into that. Thanks, Crypto Liquid. Arbitraging will unlock the vault soon. You want to get into the vault. Vault is a smart contract that will rock it up and pay you in Ether. Yeah, I'm interested in that one. Just hearing a little bit about David talk about it. Like I think that's. I think that project's going to do well. Like I think a lot of people. There's a lot of people that are in arbitraging. They're kind of looking for that next thing or the next step, or maybe just the next kind of like sister contract to get into. Need a private jet. Yeah. As long as it has Wi-Fi, man. I get so frustrated when the Wi-Fi doesn't work. I guess the first decent seems to be working okay right now, but. Man, I've been having some Wi-Fi issues. All right, guys, I better get going here. So I'll check back in. Next time I get to some Wi-Fi, kind of keep you guys updated. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts or things you want me to take a look at. There's a lot of kind of new projects that have been thrown my way. So there's a couple that look intriguing. So So yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all staying online. I'll catch you on the next one.